rice cake. If you're from Africa, why are you white? Hello everybody, it's Rose and welcome back to Cheap Lazy Vegan and another mukbang slash eating show. Today's video is going to be featuring two things that I have shown you guys how to make before. We have some air fried, no oil vegan corn dogs, which are sitting right here. Oh my gosh, look how beautiful they look. And another dish, which is a soupy udon tteokbokki, which is spicy Korean rice cakes. Look at that. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so excited. Ooh, mouth is watering, my friends. Whew. It is hot up in here, so if I'm sweating, well, that's just normal. If you don't know what a mukbang is, it is basically an eating show. I am going to be eating, I'm going to be talking, and we're just gonna have a great time. So both of these recipes are available on my channel. I've got the corn dog recipe and I also have the udon tteokbokki recipe. Both will be linked below, so if you guys want to make them and eat them yourself, then well, I would suggest you do that because they're both delicious. For this video, while I'm eating, I thought I would do the Asian American tag, aka the Asian Canadian tag, since I am Canadian. And it's basically just a few questions about growing up as an Asian in America or Canada. So I have the questions with me here. It's just for fun, just something to discuss. I thought maybe it'd be interesting. Maybe it'll let you guys get to know me a little bit better, and it's nice to talk while I'm eating. If you guys want to check out my other mukbang videos, I will link the playlist below so you can check those out. And yeah, let's get eating. Okay. First, a thumbnail. Okay. All right, guys. So we're gonna dig right in. I'm just gonna have a few bites, and then we can start talking. Ooh, look at that steam. So this is udon noodle. It goes so well with tteokbokki. I've been craving this, guys. This is rice cake. Very popular in Korea. I also put a little bit of kimchi in here. Because I didn't have enough vegetables. There's some tofu. I usually do a bite of the corn dog before I delve into the tag. This is a mini corn dog. You know what I wanted to do? Oh my god. Life is good right now. Okay, so let's get into the Asian Canadian tag. The Asian American slash Canadian tag. Number one question is, what ethnicity are you? I am 100% Korean. Yes, that's easy. Which generation are you? Apparently, I'm considered 1.5 generation. I was actually born in Korea, but I moved here at a young age. I moved here when I was 8. So I think I'm considered 1.5 generation. What is the first experience where you felt that demarcation of being a minority slash different? I guess because I had moved from Korea, I guess from the beginning I felt like I was a bit different. Like I knew I was like the foreigner. Like I went into grade 2 class and I remember just like everyone looking different than I did, you know. There were some Asians, but not that many. There was maybe like 1 or 2 Chinese people in my class, but I was the only Korean in my class. And I think there were only, at the time, there was only like maybe 2 other Korean kids in our school. So I definitely just felt different. I was never used to seeing so many different ethnicities. There were obviously mostly white people in my class, and then there was like maybe 1 or 2 black people, and I think at the time I had never really seen a black person before. So it was, to me, it was like a huge like, holy, like there's so many different people. Yeah, it was like very, very strange to me. Growing up in Korea, most people are Korean, especially where I lived. I didn't live in Seoul. I'm from a small city. It's a coastal city called Pohang. And especially at that time, there really was no foreigners. Like I remember when I was young and I lived in my neighborhood, sometimes there would be like, you know, a random white person like walking around, and like kids would be running after them, like following them, because it was such a, you know, like people were not used to seeing white people, or like non-Koreans for that matter. I'm sure if you grew up in Seoul, it was a different story, because there's obviously a lot more foreigners in Seoul. But yeah, at that time, I remember like just seeing a white person or like a non-Asian was like, holy crap, what is this? Not in like a racist way, obviously, you know? It's hot. If you haven't tried rice cakes, oh my gosh, guys, they're so good. Dip. Oh my god, this corn dog, dipping this in here. Oh my gosh, guys. Number 4, were you always proud of your heritage, or was there a time you rejected it? I think when I was young, and this is very normal, I feel, when you're young, you want to fit in. I feel like that is the ultimate difference between when you're really young versus when you get older. When you're really young, all you want to do is fit in with everybody else. So I felt a little bit embarrassed to even speak Korean in front of my friends. My parents made us speak Korean at home. They were like, okay, you can speak English at school, obviously, but you need to speak Korean at home, which I'm very thankful for, because when you're like 8, it's very easy to learn a new language, but it's also very easy to forget an old language if you don't use it. So essentially, because I was only 8 years old, they knew I wouldn't have a problem like learning a new language because I'll be in school. So they knew that learning Korean or learning English would not be a big issue. It would be very easy. It would come naturally to me. But their concern was that I would forget to speak Korean, which is a very legitimate concern, because a lot of kids, I remember, a lot of kids came to Canada around the same time as I did, me and my brothers. And because their parents didn't enforce like a strict Korean only at home rule, a lot of these same kids that came around the same time as me, around the same age, they forgot their Korean language very, very quickly. So they could barely speak Korean, and I'm fluent, essentially. At the time, I was kind of like, I want to speak English, like, you know, like everybody else. Like, I want to speak English at home like everybody else, because I wanted to fit in like everybody else. So I think I was a bit embarrassed to speak Korean and even like eat Korean food and things like that, you know? Things that right now, I'm like, hell yeah. I'm so happy that I can speak Korean. I'm so happy that I can share Korean food with everybody. I'm always happy when I introduce Korean food to other people. But at that time, when I'm like really young, I just like wanted to eat, you know, peanut butter jelly sandwiches like everybody else. You know, I wanted to eat Lunchables like everybody else. My mom would always pack me like a lunch, and granted, like a lot of them were not like Korean lunches, but sometimes it would be like a Korean lunch, and I would be like kind of embarrassed to like eat it because like kids would like look at me funny. I distinctly remember this one time, this girl, we were all sitting around eating lunch. I took out my lunch. I don't know what it was, but it was like some kind of Korean food. The girl, I mean, she didn't know any better, right? Like, everyone's young at this point. She didn't know any better, but she looks at my food with like the biggest look of disgust. And then she like does this. And I was mortified. I was like, oh my God, you know? And now I'm like, bitch, want to share this? I don't think so. Funny how things change. When you're like older, everyone wants to be different. Everyone wants to stand out. But when you're like a child, you know, you just want to fit in with everybody else. are some stereotypes that you struggle with? I don't really struggle with stereotypes. I feel like it's not that big of a deal. I try to laugh it off. Stereotypes are funny. I kind of just like make fun of it too. I'm like, I'm a bad driver. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I don't know. I guess the stereotype that I hate the most would be like Asian women are shy and submissive and obedient or whatnot. That's a stereotype, but to be honest, I know lots of Asian women and they are not like this, okay? They are not like that, okay? Because it's not true, yo. Like, that's like one stereotype that I'm like, I don't think is true. Maybe in Asia, in certain parts of Asia, maybe back in the day, but girl, like, I know a lot of Asian women and most of them are not like that, okay? We're strong, independent women. That's probably the one that annoys me the most, I guess. But, I mean, in Canada, I feel like people don't actually think that. In Canada, people can see like the Asians that live here and we're not like that, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Ooh, udon noodles. I discovered that I'm very shitty at slurping. I thought I was Asian, it's in my blood. Oh, there's a stereotype. I think Asian men have it worse when it comes to like bad stereotypes. So, I don't know. I feel for my Asian brothers. Alright, 2 rice cakes. Guys, I am sweating. Woo! You know, the issue is right now outside it's kind of like Asia, because right now outside is like super smoky because because of the BC forest fires. So BC is a province in Canada, the western province, and we live right next to it. And I guess the smoke has migrated over here. So it's been very, very smoky outside and the air quality is really bad. Yeah, opening the window is not even an option, which is really bad because it's hot, especially under these lights. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I don't know how people in certain parts of Asia can live under such really bad air quality. I think I take it really for granted because over here where I live, the air quality generally is beautiful. It's like amazing. Anyways, okay, next question. Can you speak your language? Yes, I can, as I discussed. I can speak Korean. 안녕하세요. Some people ask me to do a mukbang in Korean and I'm like, girl, the thing is I can speak it, but you know what? Like, I still feel a little bit awkward when I'm like I've never filmed myself in Korean, so I feel like weird. Vegan. And like doing a mukbang in Korean would require me to do all subtitles. And I talk a lot, so God. Oh my gosh. I speak Korean, but I am a much more confident English language speaker. So this is spicy, but not like crazy spicy. For my level, like it's like probably the right amount of spice for me. It's like a very good spicy. Like it's not too bad, but there is definitely a kick. Everyone's level of spice tolerance is different. But yeah, I don't think it's good to eat like too much spicy food. Girl, Korean people eat too much spicy food, I think. It's like really bad for your stomach. Don't be too harsh on yourself when you eat spicy food. I'm getting full. Whew. This is so good. Number 7. How has being Asian Canadian affected your relationship with your parents? Like I said, because I feel like I'm still in tune with being Korean and I, you know, speak the language and all that stuff, I don't feel like we've had had issues with our relationship because of the fact that I'm, you know, I grew up in Canada and stuff. And relatively so, my parents are pretty open-minded compared to a lot of other Asian parents. Not to stereotype, but a lot of Asian parents tend to be very traditional and very strict. And my parents were not really like that, so that's lucky for me. Because of that, it didn't really create too much conflict in terms of like, oh, I have Asian parents and they're too strict and like they think I should do this and they think I should do that. They pretty much let us kind of live our lives the way that we see fit. So for me personally, I have not too many issues, but I do know that there are lots of Asian parents that are very, very, very traditional minded, and they don't really like their kids like even interacting with like non-Koreans or something like that, which I think is just very silly. Like if you're gonna move to a country, I just feel like you need to be open to accepting certain parts of the culture. Canada is a great place where people can express their cultural identity, and they can express their culture in so many different ways. You know, you can still feel Canadian, but also feel connected to your, you know, original background. All right, next question. Number 8, how do you feel about your heritage now? Do you identify with it? Ooh, I like these questions. They're very deep. I think that I definitely do identify as a Korean. I bit my lip. Workplace injuries, jeez. Yesterday I cut my finger cutting vegetables. I do identify as a Korean, and I do feel Korean. I think that me living in Canada has allowed me to be very open-minded and learn so much about my own culture as well as other cultures. Yeah, so it's great. Canada is a country where a lot of people can feel not only Canadian, but also feel very connected to their identity, their original background. Apparently, there's one class I took, I can't remember what it was. We're learning about the different models, how the American model is different from the Canadian model. American model is the melting pot, which is basically where all the cultures just kind of get into this melting pot and they all kind of like, you know, mix together, and then that creates America. So that's the model of America, whereas Canada is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is what I learned. Canada is the mosaic model, where all of these pieces kind of come together and they're all connected, but they're not, you know, melting together, if that makes sense. So you can still keep your individual cultural identity, but you're also Canadian at the same time. It's a very interesting concept. I think Canada is a very interesting and very unique country, and I'm very lucky to be calling myself Canadian. Girl, Canadian pride. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Look at that. Rice cake. Korean culture is very interesting. I love being Korean, and I am proud, of course. I think lately, modern life in Korea seems to be very difficult. And I feel for my Korean brothers and sisters that have to struggle. It seems like a struggle over there. You know, when you think Korea, you think K-pop, you think glitz and glamour, and like one of the big tigers, like, are they called the tigers? Like basically one of the Asian countries that developed super quickly in the 21st century. And Korea is one of them. So you think, oh my god, it's a rich country and it's great and all that stuff. But Korea also has a very dark side to it. There's a lot of social problems. There's a lot of economic problems. And so I feel for them. I feel for my Korean brothers and sisters. Do I identify with being Korean? Absolutely. I eat Korean food. I speak the language. So this is the last one. What is your favorite thing about being Asian American, or Asian Canadian, I guess, or your heritage? I think my favorite thing about being Korean Canadian, I think I mentioned this before, is the fact that I feel like I can have best of both worlds. I'm so lucky. You know, I forget quite often. I think so many of us forget how lucky we are sometimes. I look at what my life could have been if I lived in Korea. I'm sure it would have still been great. I don't know. Who knows? But then I'm like, you know, the fact that I can live in one of the best countries in the world to live. It's safe. There's very little corruption. Canada is, it's clean. We're probably one of the freest countries in the world. I mean, there's so many great things about this country. And quite often I forget how great it is, and how lucky I am that my parents decided to move here, giving up their jobs. They had really good jobs and just basically giving up everything they know just to move here. Is that crazy? So yeah, I'm very lucky. And I think the best part about the best part about being Korean Canadian is that I get best of both worlds. I still get my very rich Korean culture. Korea has a very long history and a very, very rich and very unique culture. There are so many things to talk about when it comes to Korean culture, you know. There's so many specific nuances about Korean culture, and I find that really fascinating. And I get to experience that. I get to still have that as part of my identity, but also I get to experience, you know, living in Canada and being a Canadian and being exposed to so many other cultures and learning about so many other cultures. If I had stayed in Korea, I would not know as much about all of these other cultures that exist in the world. Thanks to the fact that I live in Canada, where it is very multicultural, I can learn so much about other people's cultures, and I can learn to adapt things into my culture that, you know, may not be normal in Korean culture. I can adapt, you know, positive things from other people's cultures into my own life, and I'm not just bound to, you know, only seeing Korean culture, if that makes sense. I can hang out with Korean friends and still understand what they're talking about and still, you know, speak the language, but at the same time, I can also hang out with non-Koreans and still kind of, you know, learn to communicate with them and understand them and being able to empathize with anyone from whatever culture, whatever background. It makes me so much more open-minded to be exposed to so many different people and so many different mindsets and so many different cultures. I feel like I can learn so much. So it's great. So that's probably the best thing, is just being able to have best of both worlds. Corn dogs. Tteokbokki. That was fun. I enjoyed that. Did you? God damn. Okay. Oh my god, I ate so much, guys. I made like so many. I like seriously ate so much. YOLO. Y'all need to try. This mixture together is a really good combination. It's very strange, but it's really good. Okay. Highly recommend. I am very full. I feel like I need a nap after this. It's like carb heaven. My cravings are very much satisfied. Tell me, guys, what cultural background are you? You know, are you living in the country that you were born in? Are you guys living in Canada, in America? I think it's funny because sometimes when I leave Canada, when I go traveling or something, and people ask me like, oh, where are you from? And then of course I say, I'm from Canada. By the way, that is what I say when people ask me, where am I from? I say, I'm from Canada. And then sometimes they'll say, oh, no, but like, you don't look like you're from Canada. I feel like living in Canada like makes you realize, okay, like there are people that live in Canada that are not white, you know? So yeah, before you ask anybody that, remember that just because someone is not white does not mean that they are not from Canada. I always found that really funny when people think that you're like, because you're Asian, you're obviously from Asia. It's like, I mean, I am from Asia. Like, the thing is, I can't get that mad because I am actually, like, I was actually born in Korea. But, I mean, I could have been born in Canada. A lot of my friends that are Asian were born here. So, but you know what? It's what happens when you just are not exposed to it. Like, for example, I didn't know that Brazil is super multicultural. Did you know that? I did not know that there were multiple ethnicities in Brazil until I met my friend that is from Brazil. You know? Brazil has the largest population of Japanese people outside of Japan, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I never knew that until I met some of those from Brazil. So if somebody says something kind of ignorant, don't automatically get offended and like think, oh my god, How could they? Just think, you know what, maybe they just don't know. They're not trying to be offensive sometimes. Maybe they are. If someone's like, oh my god, if you're from Africa, why are you white? Just tell them the truth. There are actually white people that live in Africa. I didn't know that until I was a little bit older. I didn't know that as a child. As a child, I thought everyone that lives in Africa is black, genuinely. So it's not because I was trying to be offensive or stupid. It's just like, you know, when you're not exposed to something and when nobody tells you anything about something, then you just have assumptions and that's all you know. Yeah, if somebody says like, oh, you're Asian, like, why are you Canadian? Or like, how are you Canadian if you're Asian? Or where are you from? Where are you really from? Just be like, you know what, like, my background is Korean, but I grew up in Canada and I have a Canadian citizenship. Feel free to educate people. You don't have to be rude, okay? I think we're very quick to be very offended nowadays and we just expect everyone to know everything, but like, you know, maybe they didn't have the opportunity to learn about your culture or your country. So let's try to be a little bit more, I don't know, accepting of other people. And that is how I will end this mukbang because I am full. Homegirl ate a ton of food. My friends, I am so full. Now I feel like I need to take a little nap, although I'm not going to take a nap, but it's nice to think about. I hope you guys enjoyed this mukbang and chatting with me. If there's anything you want me to talk about in the next mukbang, any sort of video topic, definitely let me know down below because I never really know what to talk about in these mukbangs sometimes. I'm like, oh my god, I want to film a mukbang, but what do I say? So yeah, if you guys want me to talk about anything, let me know. And I really hope you guys try these out. They're delicious. Try it out, guys. Corn dog, rice cakes, spicy Korean rice cakes. Recipes are linked below. If you guys made it this far, ooh. If you guys made it this far, write down in the comments section, in the mood for nudes. In the mood for nudes, or I'm in the mood for nudes. Nudes like N-O-O-D-Z, not nudes. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, if you guys made it that far, write it down in the comment section. I want to know how many of you guys made it this far. I know this has been a super long video, so if you made it this far, then congratulations, you are the best. If you guys want to watch more mukbang videos, I will link the mukbang playlist below so you guys can check out my other eating shows. And if you guys are new to this channel, of course, don't forget to subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and I'll see you guys in my next video.